This story is brought to you by HelloDearReader.com.
The monster is patient. But little girls can be curious, and curiosity can kill the Sophie. Part 5. My Sophie was going to die, and it was my fault. If I weren't a monster, she would not have run away. I knew what to do to save her, so I jumped over the rail after her. No matter what happened, I had to save her. Even if I was saving her from me. We exchanged letters and small gifts for several months after our first contact. This was the happiest time of my long life on Earth. Her letters were a beacon of hope for me. I learned so much about her. I encouraged her to do her best in school. Something her mother apparently did not do. She had few friends and always seemed lonely. I had become a constant companion for her. All I wanted was what was best for my Sophie. She told me of her first dance, which I made the others explain. I had heard different kinds of music over the ages, it was noise to me and nothing more, but humans liked it. I remembered watching a man named Beethoven write his music. I had even seen it performed in a great hall, in which the humans gathered in to view other humans play his music. It was still only noise to me. Thankfully I was there not for the music but for other dark reasons. Sophie said she enjoyed dancing with her friends, which made me happy. After reading her letter, I attempted to dance. My legs and body were not built for such a movement. I had found a working radio that I was able to get it to play what was considered popular music. The others attempted to help but mostly broke out into laughter at my attempts. I didn't mind that they laughed at me, the amused ones were usually sweeter. I told her of the things I knew about and the places I had seen. I'm not sure how she took my strange tales. I told her of the giant lizards that used to roam the earth, of the people who struggled with stone to build large buildings in the sand. My siblings and I laughed at their struggles with the stones. I told her of places that no longer existed, some destroyed by man, fire, or even fell into the ocean. I told her of some of the strange creatures I had met. The hairy human-like being who lived in the woods in the western part of her country. The human insect-like moth creature that tried to warn the humans of the deficient bridge they had built. I was proud of myself for my increasing ability to write these letters. I even felt my handwriting had gotten better. I recruited the others with the promise of not eating them. They gladly helped, and I kept my promise most of the time. A few times, one would anger me, and I would devour him in front of the others. For the most part, they were helpful with grammar and spelling. Then the unfortunate night came that would change both of us forever. I was leaving my home when I heard a noise at the end of the drain. It was Sophie, and she was calling out to me. I was afraid and stayed in the shadows. She stepped deeper into the shadows. I retreated, but my cloven hooves rang out on the metal. She had heard me. I was so focused on her that I didn't see the others. One had slipped by me to investigate the noise and the smell of fresh meat. She screamed out when it attacked her, and I lashed out without thinking, stabbing it with my extended claw. Seeing me there, the others retreated back into the drain. I found myself face to muzzle with my Sophie. I was almost the same height as her. Blood was still dripping from my long claw. Her eyes were wide with shock at the sight of me. The monster! She screamed and ran. Not thinking, I ran after her. I tried to tell her she was safe, but my muzzle with long sharp teeth was not made to pronounce human words. She ran through the park as fast as she could. My legs bent back like a wolf's, were better suited for running at a fast pace. I could have overtaken her at any time, but I was afraid of hurting her. She ran out of the park and several blocks away to the town clock tower. I followed, still trying to communicate. She ran up the stairs that led to the top where tourists could look over the town. I slowed my pace. Slowly I crept onto the open platform. She was pressed against the rail. She was panicked and didn't know where she was running to. Please, I tried to growl at her. I stepped forward, but she held up her hands in fear. She pushed back onto the rail, and she fell. I raced to the rail to grab her, but I was too late. I had to save her. I pulled my claws in, so I would not hurt her. I jumped. It was the only way. Grabbing her wrist with my long fingers, I spread my black wings for the first time in many years. I pulled back against our weight, letting my wings fill with air. Something cracked inside my ancient body, and I felt pain searing through me for the first time in so long. My wings popped but did not give. I had given up flying once the humans took to the skies. We both hit the ground hard. Sophie was scraped and bruised but alive. I hit the cement hard next to her. I felt something else break inside me. I laid there next to her with my eyes closed. For the first time, I was afraid. I felt something on my muzzle. She was petting me. Tears were streaming down her face. She was thanking me. She traced her fingers down the sole white streak that ran along my pitch black fur. I touched her soft skin again for the first time since I had placed the blanket on her. As quietly and gently as I could, I growled the word friend. She nodded, still petting my black fur. Friend. I stood, pain ripping through me. I kept from making any sound that would startle her. You're hurt, she cried through her tears. I touched her face, wiping away a tear. The morning had arrived, and the little plaza below the clock tower was now being flooded with sunlight. It hurt me. My kind dreaded sunlight. I spread my wings to their fullest and launched myself into the sky. I flew as fast as possible into the painful light. I knew what I had to do. I had to be away from her. I pushed back the pain from my injuries and the sunlight as I rose higher into the sky. Higher than I had been since my kind had fallen from the stars so many eons ago when we escaped our tormentors. Saving Sophie was all that mattered to me. I screamed out in a language not spoken on this planet for centuries, "Forgive me." Few on this planet would understand me, but I believed that Sophie did. The force of my body exploding shattered a few of the windows in the nearby buildings. Nothing else mattered now, my Sophie was safe regardless of what happened to me. Many theories ran through the community later. Some said terrorist attacks, some said meteor, and others thought it was a low-flying military jet. I was a child of the night to forever shun the painful light, but I had no regrets saving my Sophie. The explosion would have killed her. No. This can't be the end of the monster. Poor Sophie, what is she going to do? Next week, the end. Impatient, dear listener? If so, you can buy the finished novella on hellodearreader.com.
Hope you enjoyed the story. Please like and share. See more stories at hellodearreader.com.